Number two, what I find these groups go out and do is they grow small. Now you're thinking, that's easy to do. I've grown many small churches. But they grow it small on purpose. Meaning they go back and they emphasize small groups as one of the most important structures in the church for discipleship. Now we know discipleship is what we're called to do. We're going to talk about that just a second, the Great Commission. But discipleship takes place, I believe, most effectively if you look at church history. And I build this argument in this last book. I build the argument, if you look at the New Testament, you'll find it's in small groups that Jesus spent his time, spending his most important time in ministry. If you look through church history, if you look at the Wesleyan revivals, I love Wesley. Here he is, an Anglican pastor. And he realizes he's got to go out and take this message outside these church walls because the masses of people aren't invited or don't feel welcome because church culture in England has turned into an elite culture. And he knows the average person is not elite. They're part of the Industrial Revolution. They've got jobs in factories, but they need Christ too. So he goes out and preaches among them, and he gets these great responses. But then he doesn't know what to do with all these people responding. So Wesley, a tactician, he forms what he calls class meetings. And he calls them class kind of like a Sunday school class. There's a great book on this. It's Church Growth in the Wesleyan Spirit. It's written by my friend out here. And so, I will not do this justice in my little brief overview of this. And Dr. Chuck Hunter was also the reader on my PhD. And after seeing how he tore that apart, I can hardly wait to hear about tonight. But you know it much better than me, my friend. So if you want the real story, talk to him. But basically what Wesley did was set up this system so that people had to go to a small group. And then they had a larger society meeting. But I am told that many times you weren't allowed to go to the bigger society meeting until you had gone to the class meeting that week. That would be analogous for you going to people and saying, you can't come to church because you didn't go to Sunday school. You go right back home and think about what you did. And you come back after you've been to Sunday school. Now, many of you would like to do. Wesley did that. And his critics said, you're just doing a method. You just got this method, this program. You and all your people, you're just a bunch of Methodists. And the title stuck. And that's what it means, Methodist, today. As Wesleyans, I'm a Wesleyan myself, we trace our roots in Church of God. We're all part of that holiness, Wesleyan tradition. We trace our roots back to Wesley. And we say, Wesley was a church growth practitioner and writer. And the thing he focused on probably the most, even more than field preaching, more than preaching out there, was small groups.